So yesterday we have seen. So we have seen how to create an application. So this is a syntax of creating application. So I said once you create an application, so within the application, it will try to create how many modules here? 6 modules. So whenever you create application, it will create a package with application name. And within that, it will try to create 6 modules. So that is init.py, apps.py, models.py, admin.py. So test.py and one more is views.py, right? So I said each module is used for what? And after that, I said about views. Now, view is used for receiving a request given by the client and process the input given by the client and generating what here? Output. So how many ways can you develop the views is 2 ways. Okay, one is called function based views and one more is class based. And views.py contains one or more than one view and each view is used for performing a specific task. I said what is a view is? A view is a Python function or what? Class. So that takes a web request and returns a web response. So yes, view handle incoming requests and process the data and render the appropriate response to the displayed the user. Okay. So what is a rendering here is rendering is a process of converting. Okay, rendering is nothing but is a process of converting. What is that? A string into which object? HTTP response object. So I said how to develop the function based view. It is a Python function. So function based view is nothing but it is a Python function which takes the input, processes it, and generates the output. So the view function must have at least one parameter. And what is that parameter here? Request. And view function required one parameter called request. And view function must return a response. So request is nothing but input and response is nothing but output. And I said, what are the basic steps is like you have to create first a project. The next step is you have to create application and you have to create a view and then you have to define the URL pattern. Then you have to install the application and then you have to run the server, right? So this is a view which I have written that is welcome view. And this is having one parameter. And what is the name of that parameter here? Request. Okay. So after that, you are wrapping this string, the string into which object here? Response object. And then you are returning it. Okay. Next, you are defining urls.py. And in urls.py, you are defining what here URL pattern. But how you are defining URL pattern by using one function. And what is the name of the function here? Path, right? And after that, you are installing the application. So how you are installing the application? You are installing the application in settings.py. You define the application which you want to install in the server. So which application you are installing in the server? Application 1. After installing the application, you are trying to execute the server. How you are trying to run the server? Python manage.py run server, right? and then open the browser, and here you type the URL. So just to type the URL. Okay, now these are the things what we have seen in the last class. Yes. So these are the things what I said in the last class. I think if you practice it, you'll get. Okay. Yes. Now here, so when you're talking about URL patterns, so what will happen is, now this is what exactly happened in the last class. In the last class, so here this is a system. Okay, right. So this is a system where okay, this is a system, and the system IP address is what here, 127.127.0.0.1. Okay, this is the IP address of a system where your server is running, right? So even this can be called as what here, local host. If your server is running in some other system, you have to give the IP address of that system. Okay, right? So after that, now this is your development server. So this is your development server. This is your development server. And what is the port number of this development server? What is the port number? Yesterday we have done, right? Huh? 3. So this is a port number, right? So when you run the server, now your server's port number is what? 8000. That is a default port number. So what is your, I mean, your server is registered within the networking with the IP address and what? Port number, right? So within this, you installed your application. Within this, you installed your application, right? It means you installed your application, and your application is identified with what here? 8000. Your application is identified with what here? 8000. It means this is your application now. See, generally server, this is your server, right? And server doesn't provide any services. To provide services, you are writing some programs within the server. Okay. To provide some services, you write some programs within the server. And that you can call it as backend development. Server is there. See here, server is there. Okay, you run the server, but is it providing any services? No, it is not providing any services. To provide the services, you are writing some programs at which side? Server side. Okay, right? So you are writing a programs in server side by developing application or not? Yes. It means how your application